I'm criminal defense attorney Aaron J. Boria, and today I'm going to be giving you a quick Michigan legal tip. This is episode 5. Today we are going to be talking about carrying a concealed weapon and what happens if you violate carrying a concealed weapon, and the question that I get all the time. If I am carrying a concealed weapon and my license has expired, what am I looking at? All right, so we're going to answer those questions in this episode. First, what happens if you are carrying a concealed weapon and you don't have a license? In that situation, the prosecutor will charge you with carrying a concealed weapon, which is a felony. The maximum possible penalty is up to $2,500 and 5 years in prison. In addition to those things, a judge could also put you on probation for 5 years. They could order that you do community service or work detail. They could order that you complete a firearms safety course, mental health treatment, depending on your history. They could even order outpatient treatment or other things in addition to that. So if you are gonna carry a weapon concealed, get the license before you do it. Save yourself the headache. So what happens in the situation where you're carrying a concealed weapon, you had a license, your license expired? Maybe you knew it expired, maybe you forgot it expired. What happens in that situation? It is literally the same thing. You will still get charged with the same crime for carrying a concealed weapon without a license. You will still face the 5-year felony. So is there a silver lining here? I like to think that when I'm negotiating with the prosecutor, that if someone previously completed the safety course, they put their time in and they had a license, but then their license expired and they forgot or they didn't get around to renewing it right away, I like to think that in that situation, a prosecutor will be a little more reasonable, a little quicker to offer a deal to avoid a felony. And I have been able to do that for many of my clients across Michigan. And I will say that even for people that have never been able to obtain a license to carry for whatever reason, as long as they do not have an extensive criminal background, nothing assaultive, anything like that, typically in those cases, we can usually avoid the felony as well. But it does take some extra work and negotiation. I also run into the scenario where people tell me, well, Aaron, I'm going to open carry, then I don't need a license. Well, first off, keep in mind that open carry is not really a law in Michigan. It's the absence of a law, meaning that there's nothing that says you can't. There's nothing that you're going to find in the Michigan laws that says you can. So if you're going to open carry, make sure you do it right. Make sure that the gun is not partially concealed by a coat, a shirt, it's in your waistband, something like that. I can guarantee you that if a police officer sees that, 9.9 times out of 10, they're going to arrest you and charge you with that felony. Now, does that mean you can't fight it in trial? Sure, you can, but save yourself the headache. If you're going to open carry, make sure you aren't violating any other firearm laws in the state of Michigan. You cannot open carry a pistol while you are driving. It is not possible. It must be in the trunk or in a place not readily accessible by any of the occupants in the vehicle. It should be unloaded in a case designed for a firearm. And while it is not in the statute, I highly recommend that the box is locked. I've represented people all over the state of Michigan that have been charged with carrying a concealed weapon and gotten them fantastic results. If you've been charged with a crime, call me today. 734-453-7806, or shoot me an email at borialaw@gmail.com. I am happy to fight for you. Now, someone is inevitably going to comment below that the Second Amendment right allows them to circumvent this, or they're a sovereign citizen and they don't need to follow these laws. You're probably going to get charged eventually. And if you haven't, then you just haven't gotten caught yet. So save yourself the headache. Follow the law, stay safe. But if you don't, call me.